Cue Dave and Ryan in 3, 2, 1.
It's Dave and Ryan's movie review.
Sponsored by the Plan Z Diet.
So this week, we're going to review Electric State. This one is a Netflix movie. Pretty decent runtime, just a little over 2 hours, I believe.
Yeah, it wasn't too long. It wasn't too short. It was just right.
It was just right. Rated PG-13.
Yep.
Stars Chris Pratt, Millie Bobby Brown, Stanley Tucci, Jason Alexander, and I
didn't recognize Jason.
I didn't either. And then I think that's really... Oh, and Giancarlo Esposito is in this
it's
one.
got a lot of voice actors.
But you've got a ton of voice actors. Anthony Mackie is in there. Woody Harrelson is in there. They snuck Rob Gronkowski in there. Brian Cox is in this movie.
Yes.
So, I mean, there's a lot of voice actors. It's a different story. I don't know why. Ryan and I sat here and talked about it. There are people out there that are making this... if you want to see a movie better than this, go see Ready Player One. It's nothing like Ready Player One.
If you compare these movies, you're an idiot.
You got some issues.
Yeah, it's the dumbest thing. That's like saying Star Wars and Star Trek are the same thing.
It's very true. And that might get you shot in some places.
Yeah, they might have some similarities, but they're nothing alike.
Right. So what it takes place is back in the 90s, and there was a big robot war. Kind of in that aspect, in one way, it kind of reminded me of The Creator a little bit from that.
Yeah, kind of.
That the robots were built to do jobs, and they didn't want to do them anymore, and there was a big robot uprising.
Yeah.
And then we had this big robot war, and there were casualties on both sides.
Yeah. So if this is based off of a book. It's a very good book. I've read it before. I know, surprising. I can read. But it's just amazing. There is a few things that, they kind of took privilege with, because, book versus movie, they always change a few things. But overall, this is just a great movie.
It was, and I had a lot of fun. It starts out with Billy Bobby Brown and her younger brother, or older brother.
Yeah,
you can never really tell.
I didn't recognize her from, she's the girl from Stranger Things.
Yeah, she's all duded up now.
Yeah.
But anyway, he is very smart. We're talking Einstein level smart.
Yeah, it starts off, he's at a university solving or doing a test or whatever.
And he takes this test, but he has an unbelievable mind on him.
Yeah.
Then you come to find
genius.
out. Yes, genius level. Then you come to find out that there was an accident, and everyone in her family but her dies. Yeah. Or so she thought.
Yeah, they hit a deer, in case you're wondering.
Yeah, weird.
Because, who hasn't, feared that? I about hit a deer the other day.
Stranger things
driving
have happened.
Home.
So anyway, she feels she's been told that everybody in her family dies. Fast forward a few years, I think it just said after the war.
Yeah, so the war took
something like that.
4 years.
Okay.
So the movie starts in 1990, and then it takes it continues the story on in 1994.
Okay, so 94. She is living in basically a foster home, and Jason Alexander is getting money to, to give her a place to live.
Yeah. So the kind of the premise with the war there is the robots were winning. They were winning the war until I can't remember. The syndicate?
Center.
They come out with this new technology where basically you put it on like a big VR headset and you can control this robot. And that's kind of how the humans turned the tides and ended up winning the war.
And that technology was created by Stanley Tucci's character,
Yep.
Or so you think.
Yes.
So
he did create it. He just couldn't.
He couldn't perfect it.
Yeah, we won't be. That's a big plot in the movie.
Right,
so
we don't want to get too much into
He
that.
couldn't maintain it.
So anyway, one day a robot comes and finds Millie Bobby Brown and tells her that he is her brother.
Yeah, so at this point, all the robots have lost the war. They signed this declaration, and they pretty much get put in this, like, no man's land, which spans from, like, New Mexico into Utah. Like, there's a big wall circling them, that they have to stay in this area. No humans allowed in, no robots allowed out, or else, they will just destroy all the robots.
Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
But anyway, along the way, she meets up with Chris Pratt, who has another robot that is voiced by Anthony Mackie. You don't even know that it's him until you look in the credits.
Yeah.
But that's a really fun relationship between the two of them. They go on a road trip.
I love you more than a friend. What'd you say? Nothing.
Nothing.
My favorite line of Chris Pratt is when he's, I'm not going to die to Marky Mark and a Funky Bunch.
That's right. And that was one thing that Ryan and I clued in on and actually agreed on. The soundtrack for this movie is fantastic.
Oh, the song for the end credits is amazing.
It is a great soundtrack, especially if you're around my age and you're, not that old.
Dave, let's just say it's more around my age.
Okay.
I
still had ears in the 90s.
You did, but you were pretty far up there.
Okay. Anyway, I just graduated from high school.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, but there's a lot of fun relationships. They go into, they find a mall. That was a funny part too, where she didn't want to go in the mall, and Chris Pratt says, "It's a mall. Go in and steal something." Yeah. But
we found a Panda Express one time. The food was still good.
The
food was still good.
It never goes out of date. But so they go into the mall and they meet Woody Harrelson's character, who is Mr. Peanut.
Yep.
Who was kind of like the spokesman during the war for the robots.
Yeah, he was not necessarily the leader, but he definitely the one in charge that they all listen to.
Yes, and while they're there, they meet up with him. They meet up with Brian Cox and his character, Brian Cox's character, who plays an out-of-date baseball robot, which is funny as all get out.
Yeah, he shuts down periodically and then he snaps back to life.
He's like me. Go ahead and say it. He's like Dave.
I wasn't going to say
He's
it,
a little
Dave,
up there in years. But so at the end, there's a big battle. The action in the battle was great.
Oh yeah, when they're basically storming the castle.
Yes. So and then you come to find out all that's going on. Like you said, we don't want to tell you too much because it's a main plot point for this. This movie is actually getting drugged by critics. Big surprise there. But the audiences are liking it. I liked this one. I'm gonna say 4 out of 5. I need to watch this one again to, I think, fully appreciate it because there's so much that goes on in this movie. But it is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. Like we said, the soundtrack is just amazing. Everyone did a good job acting-wise. Another one of my favorite parts is when they're storming the castle, is when one of the people that work at the building, she's just casually walking down the hallway, and then you just see this car flying in, and bam, hit the window. She's like, ah, and she casually just looks out the window, strolls over to the phone, picks it up, and says, "We have a problem."
And then you look outside, and Chris Pratt's robot has got this big. He's taking control of this big construction robot, and he picks up another car, and he goes, "These Porsches fly really well," and he throws that one through the window. So yeah,
it's stuck.
And there's all kinds of stuff like that, and it's an action comedy, and it's her finding what really truly happened. So. Yeah. So what did you think?
Overall, I am going to have to give this one 4.5.
All right. So Ryan liked it a little bit better than me. Directed by the Russo brothers, who, if anybody knows the name Russos, they brought to life Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, and they're bringing to life Doomsday and Secret Wars. So they also directed Yumi and Dupree.
Yes.
So kind of a wide-ranging list of things that they've done, and then the soundtrack or the score really was good too, and that's was Alan Silvestri did that. So
the one thing Dave did point out about this movie is Chris Pratt. He did a good job, but he seems to be the same character in all of his movies.
And he even, like I said, he even admits that now.
Yeah.
He's gone back and watched and all of his like major big blockbuster movies, because this is a blockbuster. This movie cost, I believe, just right around $300 million to make. He is the same character.
Like the lovable goofball.
He is. I was going to go a little bit harsher, but yeah, that's what he is.
No, what were you going to say?
The lovable because that's what he is in all of his movies. But it works in this one. A lot of fun. All right. So when we come back. So when we come back, since this movie kind of really weighed heavily into that, we're going to talk about robot movies and VR movies and things like that where they kind of take over and kind of mesh as well on Dave and Ryan's Movie Review, brought to you by the Plan Z Diet.
I'll be back.